Hello, I'm Caroline from www.mathsinsider.com, and today I'm going to answer a question from a Maths Insider reader, which is which math skills and how do I know which math skills my child needs to learn first? So I'll just briefly go over the kind of math skills that kids need to know. So they basically need to know how to count and then add and then subtract and then multiply and then divide and then work with fractions and then with decimals and then how to use all those skills and use algebra. So makes it sound really simple. Of course, the school curriculum kind of chops and changes. So they make sure they do simple addition in one school year, and then they do a harder addition the next school year, and then they do double digit addition the next school year, and triple digit addition the next school year, and then they might introduce the times tables at this school year while they're still doing double digit addition, and then but they won't introduce it. They'll introduce it as sequences, and then they'll do it as times tables. So it's no wonder that parents get confused. So after they've done the times tables, they're going to do short multiplication, and then they're going to do long multiplication. And then another year, they're going to repeat the short multiplication as an introduction to long multiplication. And so the parents can be left thinking, aha, what order are they doing this? They've been doing multiplication forever. And, that is true. A program like Kumon, what they basically do addition until 1 digit, 2 digits, 3 digits, 4 digits. Yes, they can add. And then subtraction. I think they do addition, subtraction like together. A bit of addition, a bit of subtraction, bit of addition, bit of subtraction. And then only after addition and subtraction is perfect for like 4 digits plus 4 digits and 4 digits. Take away 4 digits, do they do the multiplication tables, and then once they know those, they do the division facts, and then multiplication with short multiplication, short division, long multiplication, long division, and so that's how comes to these things, but in a broken up way, because then they have to also fit in shapes and measurements and time and angles and all the other things that the curriculum decides. But how does this help you as a parent when your child comes home with, for example, a question on dividing fractions? So when I first meet a new student and a parent says they're stuck on dividing fractions, first of all, I want to know, do they know their times tables? Well, actually, I want to know, can they add and subtract? But it's kind of more polite to say, do you know your times tables, especially when you're talking to a child who's maybe 12 or 13 years old. And oftentimes, they're really hesitant. They don't know them. It's not a case of being, really fast, fraction of a second, bang, 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 bang. They know the answer straight away, but they should be able to be able to give you the answer within a few seconds and not panic. So in order to access that dividing by fractions, they're going to need to be able to work with their times tables relatively quickly and relatively comfortably. So it is a case of making sure all the foundation skills are built up. So if you do have your child coming to you with a question to do with fractions, make sure they do know their times tables. And also, before that, make sure they do know their addition and subtraction facts relatively easily and not having to count on their fingers and their toes and your fingers and your toes. So it's actually worth taking the time out to do that. Oftentimes, I have parents who start working with me, and I start working with their child, and they say, well, they need to know the times tables. And which is fine. I can give them lots of times tables practice, but actually they do need to be able to do the column subtraction, because later on, when they're doing the long division, they're going to need to be able to subtract easily and accurately. And times tables aren't actually that difficult to learn. They just need a concentrated amount of time. And they don't even need to be learnt quick, as I said before. It's a case of, to get the 4 times tables, double it again. And figuring out, giving your child the tools. If they really can't memorize them, they're giving them the tools to be able to get the answers, so that when they're later on doing